Imagine a world locked in ice, not for a winter, not for a century, but for 1,000,000 years. Glaciers a mile high grind their way across continents, reshaping the very planet. The air is so cold, it steals your breath. For our early ancestors, this wasn't a disaster movie, it was reality. Survival meant more than just finding food. It meant inventing new ways to live entirely. This is the story of how a handful of hominins stared into the heart of an ice age and not only endured, but thrived. They faced extinction-level cold, monstrous predators and desperate scarcity. Their success required a revolution in technology, social structure, and sheer human ingenuity. The tools and traits they forged in this deep freeze would become the foundation of our species. We are here today because they found a way to beat the cold. The stage for this epic survival story is the Pleistocene epoch, spanning from about 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago. This period was defined by its dramatic climate swings. It wasn't a single, unbroken freeze, but a roller coaster of glacial advances and retreats. During a glacial period, massive ice sheets expanded from the poles, covering nearly a third of the Earth's land surface. Sea levels dropped, connecting continents and creating new land bridges for migration. But these were brutal environments. Temperatures plummeted, and what wasn't covered in ice became arid, wind-swept steppe or frozen tundra. Lush forests retreated, replaced by tough grasses and shrubs that could withstand the cold. This wasn't just a change in weather, it was a complete transformation of the hominin world. Familiar food sources vanished. Water became locked in ice, and every day was a battle against the elements. The rules of survival were rewritten, and our ancestors had to learn them from scratch. So, who were the protagonists in this story? Several hominin species encountered the shifting climates of the Pleistocene. Some, like the robust Paranthropus, relied on powerful jaws to chew tough vegetation. But when their preferred foods dwindled in the cold, they faced a dead end. The true survivors were members of the genus Homo. Species like Homo erectus were already on the scene, equipped with larger brains and the first sophisticated stone tools. They were the first to migrate out of Africa, encountering these new icy worlds head-on. Later, other species, like the Neanderthals, evolved in Europe and adapted spectacularly to the cold, with stout, powerful bodies that conserved heat. And eventually, our own species, Homo sapiens, emerged in Africa and also began to navigate these challenging environments. Each of these groups faced the same fundamental problem. How do you stay warm, find food, and raise young in a world that wants to freeze you solid? Their different solutions tell the story of human resilience. If there was one single invention that tipped the scales, it was the controlled use of fire. This wasn't just about comfort, it was a technological leap that changed everything. Fire provided warmth, a direct defense against the killing cold. A simple campfire could mean the difference between life and death on a freezing night. But its benefits went far deeper. Fire offered protection, creating a circle of light and heat that kept predators like cave lions and hyenas at bay. It transformed the landscape after dark, turning a dangerous night into a time of social gathering. Perhaps most importantly, fire changed nutrition. Cooking food over flames made meat and tubers easier to digest, unlocking more calories and nutrients. This may have fueled the evolution of our larger brains. Fire also became a tool for crafting, allowing early humans to harden wooden spear tips or create pitch for glue. Mastering fire gave them a measure of control over an uncontrollable environment. It was a portable sun, a weapon, and a kitchen, all in one. With the environment stripped bare, finding sufficient calories became a monumental task. the survival strategy shifted from gathering to large game hunting. But hunting on the icy steppes required new tools and techniques. Early humans developed more refined stone weapons, like the symmetrical hand axes of the Acheulean tradition, and later, the finely crafted spear points of the Levallois technique. These weren't just tools, they were carefully engineered hunting systems. They likely used thrusting spears for close-quarters confrontations with formidable prey like mammoths, woolly rhinos, and giant bison. The challenge wasn't just killing such massive animals, but also processing the carcass quickly before scavengers arrived or the meat froze. This high-risk, high-reward strategy provided a crucial resource: fat. In a frozen world, lean meat wasn't enough. The dense fat reserves of these megafauna were essential for energy and survival through long winters. The hunt became a coordinated, communal effort, demanding planning, communication, and courage. Facing the Ice Age alone was a death sentence. Survival demanded a new level of social cooperation. Groups became more complex and interdependent. Hunting massive prey required teamwork and coordination, with individuals taking on different roles during the pursuit. But the community's role extended far beyond the hunt. It was about sharing knowledge. The intricate process of making a stone tool, the best way to build a shelter against the wind, the migratory patterns of herds. This was vital information that was passed down through generations. Caring for the young and the injured ensured the group's long-term strength. There is evidence that Neanderthals, for instance, cared for their elderly and sick, a sign of deep social bonds. This collective intelligence was their greatest asset. It allowed them to adapt their techniques as the climate shifted, to remember productive hunting grounds, and to innovate solutions together. The community became a living library of survival strategies, a warm hearth in a cold world. When the ice advanced, hominins couldn't simply wait it out. Their survival depended on mobility, on following the retreating edge of the habitable world. They became masters of reading the landscape, tracking the movements of the animal herds they depended on. These migrations weren't random wanderings, they were strategic movements toward refugia, pockets of land that remained relatively warm and fertile, even during the deepest glaciations. Southern Europe, parts of Africa, and coastal regions became vital sanctuaries. These areas offered access to water, diverse plant life, and the animals that also sought shelter there. This constant movement had a profound effect. It pushed different hominin populations into contact with each other, sometimes leading to conflict, but also to cultural exchange and interbreeding. It forced them to adapt to entirely new ecosystems, from mountain passes to river valleys. Their ability to pack up their knowledge, their tools, and the social structures, and move, was a key survival strategy. They were not conquering the ice, they were learning to navigate around it, finding the paths of least resistance in a frozen world. The million-year Ice Age was the ultimate crucible. It tested our ancestors in ways we can barely imagine, and in doing so, it forged the very qualities that define us. The technologies they invented out of necessity, fire, tailored clothing, sophisticated hunting tools, became the foundation for all future innovation. The social bonds they strengthened to endure the cold became the bedrock of complex human society. Their resilience is our inheritance. Every time we build a shelter, share a meal, or pass knowledge to the next generation, we are using skills honed in that deep freeze. The story of human survival isn't one of brute force against nature, but of intelligent adaptation. It's a story of watching the environment change and having the creativity and courage to change with it. The Ice Age eventually ended, but the legacy of those who survived it is written into our DNA. We are the children of the thaw, living in a world shaped by their endurance. If you want to continue exploring the pivotal moments that shaped human evolution, subscribe for more. We will examine the next great challenge our ancestors faced in the following video.